Hello, everyone. Welcome to our CYBERFROG BLOODHONEY comic book review. Here we go. We've got the team-up cover here with CYBERFROG, Salamandroid. See him there? Multitasking, multitasking, multitasking. And there we go. All right. Here we go. So we're going to get right into this. I'm going to dissect this in depth. I would like to go over to share this with everybody, with my friends on Twitter and my friends on Facebook. There we go. Get that shared. And this is a lovely book. I got the variant cover ultimately because it reminds me of me and my brother and their brothers, and it's badass looking. It's fantastic. So that cover is a beauty. Kyle Ritter's colors are fantastic throughout this book. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I do want to say that obviously, like, I'm a fan of Ethan Van Sciver, so I'm partial. So I'm going to try to be as fair as I can on that front. But it's very difficult for me to find anything that's wrong with this book on all fronts. Like, I'm a writer. I see art every day from professional artists, people who worked in mainstream and independent, people who are indie superstars, even before joining the Comicsgate community. So I'm familiar, and as well as my boss too, as well, showed me how to critique work, because being a creator and a writer, working with a team, you need to be able to critique the artwork as it comes in. So he gave me his expertise, and I worked with some other people he referred me to on the same front to be able to assess artwork as an important skill, especially if you plan on doing edits, or if you want your story to come together. You need the art and the story to come together seamlessly. If you want to tell great stories. So that's very important. So that being said, I was actually very impressed with Ethan Van Sciver's storytelling ability. Obviously he's a professional artist. He's worked from scripts from some amazing writers over at DC, professional writers, and so he's familiar with quality scripts, and he's probably seen bad ones as well. And so he knows, and this is his own work. He's passionate about it. You can tell through the story that he's passionate, all of the little details and the quirks that the characters have and their dialogue, and that he cares about these characters. And as a creator who cares about his own work, like, I can recognize that. You can tell if something's thrown together, or if something is a passionate story that someone is actually excited about, and this fits the bill. It's very good. So it starts out here. Got beautiful artwork like this. Let's check that out. I don't even know if the camera is doing it justice. I'm looking at it now, and it's all right. You know, part one. There's the opening page there, and that sun and the planet. Beautiful artwork. The lettering is very interesting. Here, now this is a spoiler review, so we're telling the story. So you've got the ship that's essentially this cybernetic, this artificial intelligence that's the mother of Salamandroid and CYBERFROG. And the lettering here, you can see, if I can get it close enough here, so you can see that lettering is fantastic. It's interesting, and it shows you that it's artificial intelligence speaking. Once you get into the story and you see it, you get used to that letter bubble that's very unique to this story. So that is very cool. I love the story, how the story starts out, where their DNA is spliced with technology into a cybernetic body that was built specifically to make these great heroes to defend Earth. And so that's the purpose of this artificially intelligent ship, to create these protectors. When it touches down in the swamp, there's no humanoids around, so it takes a frog and a salamander and makes two humanoids out of them, which is interesting. The characters are very well drawn. You can see, and it's dynamic. Obviously, I mean, we're talking about a 27-year comic book veteran pro who's had 20 years plus of professional comic book credits under his belt. He's worked with amazing talents, but you can see how dynamic it is. Like, you see the angles, and the book is like that throughout. like the panels are very dynamic as far as the action, as well as the perspectives on where there's narrative and story happening as well. And I'm just going through this the scene, picking out parts that I like. Here you've got the beginning where Heather Swain, who's a supporting character, is out late at night, and there's this guy that approaches her and assaults her, and CYBERFROG comes in to save the day. Bitch slaps him with his tongue right there. And like you can see here that I'm talking about as far as the dynamic pose, like it's almost like Spider-Man, only better than Spider-Man. I mean, obviously Spider-Man's a fantastic story. We're all fans of him, but the acrobatic, you could see how acrobatic CYBERFROG is. It reminds you of those leaping tree frogs. And then he's got the tongue attack. Smacks the asshole boyfriend out of the way there and saves the day. So that's their first meeting. I was very I thought I was interested in this. I thought this was very cool. I don't know if you could see it on the camera, but Heather Swain's a Tool fan. I am also a Tool fan, and apparently Ethan Van Sciver is too as well. So I was very happy to see that. They're a fantastic band, and so yep. And also, this was another part I wanted to mention too as well while we're talking about it. I wanted to say that the tattoo here in this part of the story I thought was very cool, and I did a drawing. The drawing that I showed you at the beginning of the stream, that's my line work. I drew that. I'm a writer, so the inexorable word nerd to be exact. But I do some line work. I do my own layouts and my own concepts for my own books. I learned how to draw just specifically to do that, to speak in a visual medium to artists so we could collaborate. And so when I did my CYBERFROG, the expression was the same. And it's funny because here's CYBERFROG saying, "Why is he smiling like that?" And so honestly, like when in my drawing, the mouth was the part I hated the most because I didn't quite nail it the way Ethan did. With the way that his mouth is kind of slender and he has less on the front side. And so, but I got that expression the same. So the tattoo that she got had the same expression, and CYBERFROG's questioning it. So I thought that was pretty cool. That gave me a laugh. Now let's see. We got part 2 here. Now this is where the Vespers attack. So this is part 2, and this is lovely. And you know, you guys have been getting this from Ethan Van Sciver since because he's a DC artist. He does Green Lantern, so you're used to him drawing these space scenes, and he is very good at them. That looks fantastic. Kyle Ritter's colors are amazing in this. I mean, my camera I don't think is doing these justice. These are so bright. So bright, and they're so sharp. So that's this comic book is very easy on the eyes. We got a 2-page spread here that I wanted to show off. See if I can do it without a glare. Yep. But just another example of more action, dynamic poses. Getting another perspective of him jumping down from the top of a building. And then the lettering for CYBERFROG and Salamandroid are different too, and they're color coded to the characters, so it's very easy to read and tell who's speaking. I mean, I've read a lot of comic books, so I can't, but it's just I thought that was very cool. How they did that. How the lettering is even unique to each character. You know, like the artificial intelligence was one way, so the lettering is very artistic, which I thought was very neat. So that was creative, you know. And so they have him here. He's having dinner. He's eating fried chicken. Yep. Nom nom nom. Munching up that chicken. Yep. And then, yep. So then you get that Heather Swain Tool shirt, watching the news, seeing all the destruction as the Vespers attack. I thought this was very cool. Salamandroid, you big dopey, awesome dude, you breaking your head through the side of the house. You can see that perspective here of the inside, and then you go across here and you can see he's 2 stories tall and he's got his head through the side of the building. It's very cool. just showing that the character has no, I mean, he's an android, obviously, but he has no real concept of structures or society or those kind of things. Ultimately, he just has one purpose, and that's to protect CYBERFROG as his brother. And CYBERFROG has one purpose, and that is to protect the human race from the Vespas. And so they were created specifically for this task, is what the story is. And so the Vespas come in, and there's these giant mutant wasps. Now we get into the premise of the story, which is that that these mutant alien wasps are a nomadic species that destroy worlds by eating their population and then regurgitating them into a honey that they feed their young with, and they build hives that essentially overtake the planet. And so CyberFrog and his brother Salamandroid are trying to prevent this from happening. And so that's what this is all about. You get to see that here in this panel over on the left side, where he's ultimately attacking this man, and right there, sucking his face off of his skull, which is pretty fucking awesome. So the visuals are fantastic in this as well. I mean, Ethan's not making, he's making exciting books. He's not. I don't think he's pulling any punches. I think he's giving you the visual for that. Honestly, what it reminds me of personally was at a young age I read Creepshow comic books, and honestly, the ironic, horrifying twists on these stories were very appealing to me, and obviously everybody else. They were popular. They were done by Bernie Wrightson, who is a fantastic artist. It's almost some people might think that I'm shilling by saying that, but it had that same kind of effect on me. It was that horrifying scene that you get, like with what was it? I can't even remember the name of the story, but where the husband was killed. She lumped him on the head with an ashtray, and then he came back from the dead, ripped her head off with his bare hands, and frosted it. Wanted his cake. There's the guy that came back from the dead. He was buried on the beach. I remember in the film, when they did the films online, it was Mel Gibson, or it was Tony Danza. No, not Tony. No, it was. Who was it? No, it was Mel Gibson. Was it? Yeah, it was Mel Gibson. Buried on the beach. Yeah, long time ago, back when he was young, before he had his old man beard he has now. So, yeah, so that's fantastic. And so bear with me as I'm going through this. I mean, I'm just I'm reading through it again quickly and pulling out parts that I enjoyed, like this right here, where the Vespas grabs this lady and has this appendage that comes out of his mouth, drives it inside of her, and that's how they make the blood honey that starts breaking down, pumps her full of stomach acid juices that breaks down the human body and turns it into this blood honey. You can see it here leaking out of all of her orifices. But isn't that horrifying and beautiful at the same time? That's lovely. I mean, not to be sick or anything, but I mean, isn't that the point of horror, is to be horrific and lovely at the same time and entertaining? And like, I mean, if that's not the definition of it, it's fantastic. Fantastic work. And not to I also wanted to mention too as well that and here's the showdown with Rumblebee as well. There it is, with Rumblebee and Pollinate. So and that whole action scene is amazing. You got Bill Clinton here, shown in the book. There we are. Yeah, oh, I was going to say, at the end of the book, you get bonus material. I like this scene right here. Like, look at this here. Isn't that great? Yeah, we're doing the spoiler review. I mean, Wrecked Planet is up on Indiegogo, so the sequel is going to be coming out. It's in demand for another month, but they're probably going to be shipping, I think, throughout. And so Wrecked Planet books should be coming in. I think it's probably a great time to do a full spoiler review right now. So while there's still the opportunity to pick up a copy of Bloodhoney and then get the sequel, which I suggest you do as a comic book collector. I'm proud to have this in my collection. Like, the artwork's fantastic. Like I said, and the story's great. Um, uh, I like the characters. I mean, what more do you need? I mean, all those little scenes adding up. I'm very satisfied all the way through. There's always something exciting or something beautiful to look at. The lettering is clear and sharp and fun, and they were innovative the way that they lettered. And look at all the action happening here. This is the point right here, the spoiler, where we lead into the beginning of Wrecked Planet, which is as of yet hasn't been released, but it's fully funded, and so we're getting that book. He's trying to help, and CYBERFROG gets hit by a semi here and knocked off of the bridge, and then he plunks into the New Jersey River there, and there he goes, and activates his cybernetic healing. Cybernetic healing, and he goes into a hibernation mode, and they're going to repair his cells. Part 3. So here we go, and he's emerging. He's wondering what's going on. CYBERFROG pops out of the water, and this is the scene, the iconic scene. And I love the way this is laid out. But isn't that fantastic for a 2-page spread? Check it out. Showing the Vespers, and he's looking at all these scenes above. You can see it from his perspective, what he's looking at, all the chaos and the panic of him looking at all of these things happening across the city as he emerges from the water, healed to a destroyed Earth, to an overtaken Earth that people are forced to live in hiding, to live with rules, stay in the trees, keep the fires burning, never panic because they can smell your fear, and always wear red. And then I turn the page, and there it is. Yep, I thought that was brilliant as well. It was very interesting to have those rules in place to survive the Vespers. And this scene looks great here. Heather Swain's children. Here she is accepting it, her rules. Mother's telling her. And then, yeah, and the final scene right here, where CYBERFROG shows up, and there's Heather with her 2 children, survived the apocalypse. And so the bonus materials are great too. I touched on that, but I waited. I want to talk about the bonus materials. You get some great information about the origin in the books, but you get a lot of inks, penciled inks by Ethan Van Sciver. He inks his own work, and he is you get to see it. You know what I mean? It's essentially there's another writer that worked with. He told me he likes looking into other people's sausage factory. So essentially, you're learning as a writer or as a creator by watching other people's process and seeing people doing things, people who are successful, see them doing things correctly. You get to see line work and inks here with no color, which obviously, like, having Kyle Ritter's color is definitely a boon for this book, because he is supremely talented, and I've seen a lot of talented colorists, and he does an amazing job. I mean, Ethan's seen a lot of talented colorists as well, so I mean, he knows. Obviously, he hired him. He knows he's good, but I likey too. But no, having these inks here, you get to see, and here you get the comparison. That's exactly what that's for. A person who's not experienced or who hasn't made a book who wants to can see the difference between that inking stage and the coloring stage, and what a colorist brings to the table, and what kind of things you want to have before it goes to the colorist, what kind of quality you want to have before you get this finished product over here. You start with this, and then you collaborate and turn it into this, which is the original BLOODHONEY cover with CYBERFROG leaping through the air. And we got Salamandroid here, an image of Salamandroid. Well, I haven't been very critical, but I gotta say I don't like this design of Salamandroid as much as what was in the comic. Luckily, when we went through the comic, this is what we got for Salamandroid, and then there was this. Like, obviously, I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, but he doesn't have that presence. Indigo campaign art by Ethan Van Sciver. Yeah, this was Van Sciver's as well, but it seems like they took this design in favor of this design, and I think that this design, I think he was right. I think this design is superior for Salamandroid. His presence, you can see how big he is. I like the build, whereas this is more like a lizard and less like a hulking beast. And I like the hulking beast aspect of Salamandroid personally. Maybe not everybody feels the same way, but I definitely like that build. Yeah, and so you get to see the variant cover inks here. So this is all bonus material. It's at the end of the book. This was added afterwards. But that was great. And then he had credits at the end. There was an opportunity to buy in and get credits. But yeah, that's the whole book. And I was very happy too as he signed it. See, we got where is it? Where'd my signature go? Right here, inside the card. There's yeah, right there. Yep, we got signed Ethan Van Sciver variant cover. Very happy with this book. That's going straight into my collection. I'll probably let my kids read it though. I'll see if they want to and kind of get their perspective on it. I have boys. I have 3 boys, and I have 2 that are letting them get a hold of this and read a quality comic book. I think is good for them. They have Spider-Man books, and we have a humble collection here, but we've got a good mix. A lot of stuff from lots of mainstream publishers, and I've got some indie books from people that I've backed over the years. So we've got a humble collection, but definitely enough to give them a good taste of comics and stuff. But I definitely want them to read this and see. I think it's a quality book, and I enjoyed it. And I've already backed for Wreck Planet, so I can't wait to have that. I want to have that in my collection as well. A few other Comicsgate projects as well that I've seen recently. Like I backed Dan Fraga's Black Flag today, and I picked up the double cover. And so it's signed, and so I'm excited about that. I was looking forward to that book, and he's been doing spectacularly. Like, I want to say he had 30 grand in the first hour and a half of the campaign, so he's definitely slaying it. He had a great pre-campaign though as well. He did a lot of pre-promotion, a lot of work. He's a charismatic guy, and he's kind and humble, and so I think those things contributed to it as well. Comicsgate support helped as well. Everybody saw those things in Dan, and so he was able to get a success on his first day. And now, the work begins, and we've still got another month to build. I see that going 6 figures, no problem, without a doubt. He's going to have a fantastic campaign, and they're going to have a lot of books a lot of packages to put together and ship out. So yeah, so that's what it's all about. Getting funded, getting those books out. Nobody's doing it better than Comicsgate, and this book is just one of many examples of that. Thank you so much for tuning in. We were going to open the floor for people to come in and discuss if people are interested, but there are a lot of streams going on this evening, and we've got the Comicsgate auction that's happening right now, which I'm probably going to cut over and check out. And there's a lot of pre-events going on, but this will be up for the playback for everybody. Leave your comments below. Make sure you hit the button to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, so that way you can get notifications when we go live. We have amazing guests coming on our stream. We've already had some. There's some playbacks that you guys can catch down below, right down here. And so going back to the page, subscribe, go back, hit back button, or whatever you do, all that stuff, and go back and check out some of the live streams. We've had some from my studio, people that I work with personally, as well as mainstream professionals who work in indie. So that's been the theme of the channel, and we're going to have a new CG only channel coming up where we're going to feature projects, and I think you guys are going to love it. We're building that now and looking to building my opener, and I ordered some stuff online for it. So yeah. So that's everything. Reading good comic books, making good comic books. Oh yeah, geez, yeah, I have my cover coming in for Hayward Saints 8-1, and it's going to be amazing. I haven't announced the cover artist, but I've leaked out a little bit of the work in progress, and it's looking beautiful, realistic. Yeah, essentially, when he's done, this guy that I picked up, it's going to look like a live action still shot movie poster, is what we're looking to go for. So the detail and the quality is going to be there. It's going to have an accompanied ash can from one of my good friends from the studio, who is a mainstream artist, a 35-year DC veteran, agreed to do a cool cover, and it's going to be a throwback cover with a theme from 80s properties that I enjoy. And we're going to have some very cool things in that book. We're going to have bios of the Hayward Saints 8 characters. We're going to have a backstory short that's done by Joe Arnold, who's the interior artist as well, featuring one of our heroes, Mammoth Monk, and his showdown on Shatterspine Mountain with Kai Trao Ving, who is Karma. It is his nemesis, and so which sets up the second half of the double issue we're going to be launching. So we've got a building process before we get to that point, but with your support, we can get there. And I've published a lot of work personally, as far as like a self-published author. I worked for 2 years writing fantasy professionally for a tabletop gaming company. I did a source book and adventures and short stories for them, and wrote adventure modules and accessories, and helped design work for their 3D printing and a bunch of stuff. And then independently as well, I write other titles for Cornerstone. I write Power Block, I write Curve the Nexus, which is a fantasy epic, and I also created Meteor Marley and the Astro Nerds, and I all have 4-issue arcs, and then Hayward Saints 8 has a 4-issue arc as well. We're going to release it in 2 double issues, and then do the graphic novel after. So it's been a lot of work to get to this point, a lot of years to get to this point where I'm publishing my first comic book. Through all of that, like, I've been writing and busy and working, but this is actually going to be my first, well, besides the preview. Like, we have preview material here that I published, and I'm in this. This is all me, and this is the artwork for Hayward Saints 8. You want to check it out on the interior? Joe Arnold getting it done. There's Mammoth Monk. Yep. Show a little bit more of that. This artwork here. Let's see if we can get that in close. Yeah, I mean, the boys are legit. Details there. Yeah, and this story's going to turn out. This story's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. So that's what we're doing. But thank you for tuning in. I'm going to cut this stream out, but that's a wrap. That's my review of CYBERFROG BLOODHONEY. It was very hard to find something wrong with it, but it's to be expected. I mean, this is a professional who's been working at the highest level of comic publishing in the world, and now he's doing his own work, and he's passionate about it. So it's going to be a beautiful book. And it is. And so thank you very much, and please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. We appreciate your support. We're going to have amazing content coming up. This channel is going to get better and better. I work daily towards my goal of making it better and making it the way I envision it. So we're going to have multiple segments, and so don't miss those. We're going to have lots of different guests, lots of creative talent. We're doing all things indie entertainment. We do indie bands, we do indie publishers, we do indie writers, we do all things indie. So so make sure you do that so that you can catch all of those things, and come have fun with us. Come talk with us. Let's talk about the future of entertainment. Okay? Thank you. Peace.